What's up, guys? How you doing? Well, I hope. What are we doing today? It's a story time, you guys. It is a story time. I'm gonna tell you about my best and my worst random experiences on an airplane. So you guys have lots of questions about traveling while plus size. I will do a separate video about that. My neighbor upstairs is working out. Do you hear her jumping? Mm-hmm. My friend Kat is here. So if I'm talking off camera, forgive me, or if you hear Kat giggling, because the stories are about to be lit. You're not ready. You're not ready. Okay. So these stories aren't really about like the airline or traveling, while being a bigger human. They're about the people you meet while you're traveling. So these stories could apply to anyone. These things could happen to anyone. And they're so bloody random that I had to share. I was just telling a friend one of the stories and I was like, this is a story time. This is a story time. Story number one, I'm gonna tell you about the best random stranger situation that has ever happened to me on an airplane. Okay, so I was on a flight from JFK to LAX. So I was coming from New York to LA. And I was in coach. I was much younger. I think I was 25. This was a decade ago. So yeah, it was when I was 25, 5 minutes ago. And I was in coach, I was going to LA, and I was flying alone. And I didn't start flying alone until a business trip to Portland. I think when I was like 22. So I hadn't really had a lot of miles under my belt flying alone, my family and friends and stuff like that, but not by myself. So I get on the plane and I am in a seat with me and I was at the window, an empty seat, and then this person comes by and starts putting his stuff away. He is like the most handsome white guy I can remember in recent history. So he was really tall, like kind of slim, had a gorgeous face, big bright blue eyes, and dark hair. So of course I notice him and I think, oh, he's cute. And then I just kind of mind my business. I don't expect him to talk to me or be friendly. Certain people you just don't expect to engage or whatever. And so I'm just minding my business. And he was pulling out kind of his stuff because it's a long flight. Like from New York to LA is a good 6 hours. And so he's pulling out his like comfort things, he had water and whatever. And I'm sitting there and I have my pillow and I'm just kind of getting myself ready as well. He sits down and we take off. So we take off. The stewardesses start doing their service of bringing you your drinks and all that and snacks, etc. So yeah, you used to get like snacks and food. Like
back then you got a meal.
Yeah, you got food. Now it's like, I think you get water in coach. It's a nightmare. So, she's serving everything and we still hadn't made any contact. And the service starts like once you're like, I think you reach 10,000 or cruising altitude, and then you're, then they start with the cards. So we had nothing, right? And so he starts to fall asleep after about an hour on the flight. And I noticed that he keeps kind of like sliding a little bit. So he's sliding toward me. And I'm just looking like, okay. And he's sliding. And then his head is like on my shoulder. So his head's on my shoulder and I'm young and just like, okay. I felt kind of bad. I know, and this is a very, very rude statement I'm about to make. I know that if I thought he was like yucky, like if he was not cute, or if he was just some person you don't want touching you, I would have been like, I would have made some kind of funky gesture to get him off me. I just let him rest his beautiful head on my shoulder. I swear on everything. He was just like chilling. So he's resting comfortably and the stewardess walks by and kind of like looks like she didn't know we knew each other. We don't, okay? And so then he's laying there for like a good 10 minutes and I think I like breathed or sneezed or something and he woke up. And he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You know, oh, I'm so sorry. And I was like, yeah, you know, you were just so comfortable. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to wake you up. And so he's like super apologetic. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So of course he falls asleep again. He starts sliding, sliding, sliding. His head's on my shoulder again. This time he wakes up immediately, like as soon as he kind of made contact, and he was like, I'm so sorry. I'm just so tired. I forgot my pillow. Like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, it's fine. It's cool. He was like, really? He was just like, why don't we just, you know, there's no one between us. Why don't we just get comfortable? So I'm like, okay, what do you have in mind, hot guy? And he was just like, he turned his body and kind of put his leg, you know, like his knee to the seat and had his feet dangling off. And he was like, come on, get comfortable, get comfortable. And so we literally slept on each other for the duration of the flight. Like we were in every position possible of cuddlation. Like he was laying full on me. He laid with his head on my lap. I laid with my head on his lap. I laid on his shoulder. We went back and forth. Cat's over there. We went back. Cat's like, we went back and forth the entire flight. And when we woke up, the stewardess, well, I woke up first, and the stewardess asked me like, oh, do you want a bottle of water? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, does your husband want anything? They thought we were married because we cuddled with each other the entire flight. And I just smiled and I said, no, he's fine. I swear. So we're on this flight, we're cuddling, we're living our best lives, and he's so hot and smells good. I did not mind at all. And so he finally wakes up and we're about to land and he's smiling. He's just like, was that a good flight for you? And he was like, that was the best ever. He's like, I was so tired. I needed to get comfortable. And I was just like, it's totally fine. It was great, you know, whatever. We grab our stuff, the flight lands, we grab our things. I walk off, he walks off. We give each other a smile and a nod, and that's it. I don't know his name. We did not discuss where we're from. We did not discuss politics, our future children, nothing. Like, we cuddled and we left. I was like that, and I was so like shook by everything. I was just like, was this real life? Did I just have the best flight ever, sleeping comfortably on a strange but also hot human, and then we just walk off like that was perfect? I low-key spent the entire time wishing he was on my flight back. I was like, I hope he's on my flight again. I don't know what he did. I don't know. And he was like, we seemed to be kind of similar age. He looked a little bit older, but that was it. So that is the best stranger encounter I've ever had on a flight. Leave a comment below if anything remotely similar has happened to you. I need to know. Okay. The beauty of that story, let that just live in our hearts and our souls for a little while I tell you the worst stranger encounter on a flight. Another very, very long flight. I believe, where was I going or coming from? I was flying home. I don't remember where from. I was in the US. It was a domestic flight, but it was a good 4 or 5 hours. So I was somewhere on the West Coast. First of all, I'm loyal to my airlines and I acquire points. I usually can get an upgrade. It is much harder to get an upgrade on the New York LA flight because it's considered international, so it's not automatic. You have to pay, etc. Sometimes, or you know, if I'm flying for work, I'm not sitting 5 hours in the middle seat. Not happening. So, unfortunately, and I think this might be the last time that happened to me, and I'm very diligent about making sure it never happens again. So my very wide, very tall body in a middle seat of a coach airplane is hell, okay? The window, okay. The aisle, okay. The middle is an absolute nightmare. So I get the middle seat. The flight is jam-packed, it's full, there's no upgrades, there's no way to pay for an upgrade, there are no seats available. So, who's gonna be next to me? Is it another big person? Is it a man? Because you know, men can't sit with their legs like closed, and they just sit with their full body like just relaxed. Whereas women were like this, we're like crunching our bodies, you know, we cross our legs, we're making ourselves smaller. Even small women, like we collapse, and men just like luxuriate, you know? So a woman walks by and she has a baby. And not like a little baby. She has like a 1-year-old baby. More, okay, not one, but like a larger baby, not a tiny infant. And I'm like, please not here, please not here, please not here, please not here. Oh, she was my seat partner. She had the window seat. So she and her baby, so now they're 2 humans, 2 with me in the middle seat. She and her baby come and sit in the window seat. People are walking by, people are walking by, people are walking by. And I'm like, F my life. Who is the person? Who is the person? Please be tiny and elderly, something. No, it's like a 6'3" big guy, like a total, like an athlete type man. And he sits on the end and I almost start sobbing. I'm immediately uncomfortable, immediately uncomfortable. Okay, so this is not about my discomfort in the seat. This is about the humans that are surrounding me. Let's dive in. Let me start by saying there is 1050% nothing wrong with a breastfeeding woman. It is natural, it is normal, your kid needs to eat, it's the best thing for them to eat. I have no problem with someone whipping out a tit and feeding a kid. None whatsoever. However, on a crowded plane and when they're right next to you, feels a little bit different. So the woman starts to feed the baby and I immediately calm myself down. I'm like, that's her boob. It's fine. This is what boobs are for, okay? They're not just decoration. The child is hungry. You're fine, Kelly. You're fine. Everything's okay. Focus on your book. Stare into the aisle, into the abyss, and float away. But she's so close, I can smell her breast milk.
Oh God.
I, as a woman who has not had children, that smell for me was a little challenging, to say the least. So I smell her milk and it's nauseating me, because it's just, I think it was the thought of it. I don't know, but it was making my stomach churn. And so I just sit calmly and get into a zen place and wait for her to finish feeding the baby. Okay, she's done. Tits away. Life back to normal. Just kidding. Apparently, her boob is also a pacifier. So 5-10 minutes later, the boob's back out. The boob's back out and she's breastfeeding again. And I calm myself down. The baby needs it. He was still hungry. All is well. You're okay. I can smell her milk. And the plane is suddenly really warm. So now I feel claustrophobic because there's big guy, little lady, plus a baby, and a boob, and milk that I can smell. And now he's eating a tuna fish sandwich. How I did not actually end my own existence on this flight is beyond me. I wanted to cry mostly. I was praying the entire time, like, God, please just make this be over. For 5 hours, she breastfed the baby. Like the baby was sleeping with her boob in his mouth. And so when he would wake up, you know, he would start drinking or eating. And so I could smell it the entire time. The dude next to me was just chatty as ever, not with me, but with her, because he has a new baby at home. So I got guy right here, lady with the baby, talking to each other across me. And he's like leaning over, ah ha ha ha, ah ha ha ha, my son, my son, ah ha ha, ah ha ha, my son, my son. They're like this over top of me. And I'm just in the middle like, just put me down. Someone come by with a tranquilizer gun or a needle, inject me, put me down. It was actual hell. So I feel all conflicted. Like I feel bad. Like I don't want to complain because the baby also wasn't crying because I think she kept putting her boob in his mouth. So I'm like glad that the kid isn't crying, but what's worse that like I smell her bodily fluids and it was putting me so off. And now they're chatting with each other. This guy has very odorous snacks, tuna and such. Don't bring it on a plane. It was one of those things where I think if it only lasted like 30 minutes, I could have survived. But because it was for hours and hours, By the time I got off the flight, I was like dizzy. I was stumbling. I could not run off the plane fast enough. And it was just one of those situations where I'm like uncomfortable physically. I'm uncomfortable emotionally. I'm like in sensory overload. I'm being stimulated by things that I don't want to be stimulated by, including breast milk. It was a freaking shit show. It was a disaster. So there you have it. My best and my worst encounter with strangers on a plane. It was a lot to deal with in both situations. I'd much rather cuddle with a handsome guy than, you know, a lady, a baby, and a big guy in a tuna sandwich. It was just too much. So that's it for this story time. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to my channel because why not, right? Why not? Things to do, subscribe. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like story times. It seems that you do. If you want more, leave a comment below. Let me know your worst airplane experience with a person. I'm dying to know. It's probably hilarious now. We weren't laughing then, but we're laughing now. Thank you again for watching. Love you, mean it. Bye.